Super teacher has made a significant impact.
Coding is more like a concept. It's more like a psychology and thinking skills. It can be taught. Forget about all these answers. We are the first people to know what exactly Bitcoin means. Have you heard about this platform called as code.org? Platform called as code.org. Under the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, there are multiple towers and there's a tower nearby our home. So then to Earth.
It's a revolutionary professional development program.
Camera starts. Okay. Now when I scan this, I'll show you. I'm able to see the answer one by one.
One, two, three.
A very good morning and a warm welcome to one and all present over here, teachers. I think you should be able to hear me right now and see me clearly. Great. Thank you very much for participating in another Super Sunday workshop. And this time we're getting into another important topic, quite the trend right now with respect to CBSE's initiation and a lot of CPD programs revolving around this. The concept of STEM learning. When you talk about concept of STEM, most of the schools picturize a makerspace lab, a robotics lab, where the students are coming and fiddling around with all the materials that are present out there, learning the concept of microcontrollers, or learning the concept of how to make a machine and things like that. That's the picture. All the organizations which are working towards STEM education, like multiple foundations are there, including Government of India working on imparting STEM educations with one of their flagship initiatives called as Atal Tinkering Labs. I think most of you are able to imagine STEM with that particular concept. Let's quickly understand, is that really the only thing that's about STEM? Can a Hindi or an English teacher cannot have STEM in their curriculum? That's going to be the ultimate agenda of today's session. We're going to talk about when did the word get coined, STEM, how did it actually come into picture in education system, and we're going to touch upon some key areas that as a teacher, as an educator, everybody must know what STEM is all about. So when we talk about STEM education as a pedagogical practice, it became quite prevalent later after 2000s. Now, why are we even talking about it? We're talking about this initiation happening after 2000, which has got direct resemblance, or I would say direct relevance to the advent of technology. The moment technology came into picture with computers or machineries into the school system, a lot of possibilities got opened up. Many teachers came up with better, or I would say different teaching aids. Apart from the chalk and board, there came this technological platform where people started using digital classrooms. I remember there's a company called as Educomp, which used to work on having the boards in the class, which has got all the touch panel. You can touch and expand and do a lot of magics could be done using, that's how it used to be termed as initially. And there used to be a resource person appointed in each and every school to run that system. The learning became more simpler, or I would say the learning became faster. Access to information through internet via these boards became more interesting, so that there's a wider, or the breadth of acquiring a knowledge got increased to a very large extent. Well, how is this related to STEM? Well, right after the possibilities of exploring things, technology also came into the picture, like why not have hands-on activities for each and everything? So to get to understand how these things evolved, let us understand the concept of STEM. And with a period of time, probably in another 40-45 minutes, we'll get to touch upon what's happening currently in country. Now, when we talk about any evolution in education system, it directly depends on the requirement of the industry. I'll repeat it, requirements of the industry. So it's like school education. That's where the children are growing and learning all the disciplines. At least I believe so. We get an exposure. But right after that, we have got the college education, where it's all about graduation, where you choose one area to be an expert on, a little more details on a particular topic or the area. And then comes the next area, which is actually called as the industrial requirement. So it is like school education, the college education, and the industrial requirements. The more we are relevant to what the industry requires, the better is the scope of development. And of course, the vocational opportunities or the job opportunities. So let's understand where did STEM play an important role and how it is shaping the job opportunities of the country, not only in India, I would say at global level. For that, I would like to share my screen and show you some really important activities related to STEM education. It's definitely going to be something that you might know to a very large extent, but definitely there'll be at least 10 pointers today that you would have heard for the first time. 10, I'm going to count that. The concept of STEM learning, I would like to welcome all the teachers and thank who have been extremely consistent in joining almost all the Super Sunday workshops. So this is Super Sunday workshop series session number 118. A lot of milestones out there. STEM is not a sandwich with four separate layers, STEM. Generally, the STEM is categorized as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics constitute as STEM. So I'm learning science. This is a science period. Can I call that as a STEM activity? Kind of no, definitely not no. So that's why they say it's not a sandwich with four layers, like different layers. Of course, they have to be consumed together. So Is that the right thing to even say? No, it is more like a smoothie where all ingredients are blended to create something new and meaningful. It's like completely blended. It's very difficult for a person to categorize the robotics activities that's happening in a lab falling under the category of science, English, engineering, mathematics, or even social science for that matter. That's when design thinking comes into picture. We'll talk about all these things one by one. So it's not even like a sandwich where people say that when you consume all together. So it's like all of them are there in a component. No, it's not really like that. It is something where you find it very difficult to even categorize. Just like in a smoothie, you will not be able to categorize the different ingredients in that. It's like perfect blending, right? Let's go forward and understand that. So STEM actually got into picture like somewhere in 2000s, around 2000s, by this foundation called as National Science Foundation in United States, basically. Well, this was already present in our Indian education system in the early 2005. There is a National Curriculum Framework 2005 which mentioned about STEM approach, and the adaptations have been there in early days as well. However, the documentation is not strong enough to mention about the word called as STEM. So however, it was initially coined as SMET. Early 2000s it was like SMET, emphasizing on science, mathematics, engineering, and technology. However, from pronunciation perspective, National Science Foundation coined it as STEM, and it was a perfect word not only for the aspect of pronunciation, but also with respect to the roots of learning. Let's understand this eventually. STEM represents an integrated interdisciplinary educational philosophy. The journey of STEM began with a vision to connect these vital disciplines for a holistic learning experience. Now, when we talk about STEM, it is not really about science, technology, engineering, mathematics considered in individuality. It is more of the combination which we just saw. But more importantly, this is more like a connect between multiple dots. As simple as that. You do not know what these dots represent, but when you have a bird's eye view, when you go back at a certain topic and then look at everything together, things make sense. If I have to come up with an analogy, it is just like we are blessed with certain sense organs which are properly functioning. Hope so. If you're not able to taste something properly, probably your tongue is not well, something like that. Or something like if you're not able to see something clearly, probably you need spectacles. But the point over here is these sensory organs, sense organs, they all work in collaboration to each other. It's not that I would like to work with my ears right now and I would like to deactivate my eyes. That cannot happen. All the sense organs are ready to take input at the same time with same intensity and whatnot. So when all of these are working in collaboration to provide some input to the brain comes up with a response as an output for our arms or legs or any reflex action or any action for that matter. The point is just like the way all these sense organs work in collaboration to come up with an output through brain, STEM is more like a collaborative effort across multiple disciplines. So, just a simple analogy to understand what actually STEM is all about. Now, when we talk about STEM, it is more like a mindset. It is more like a thinking process which is required right now. So, for example, if you're there as a teacher in a school right now, and there's an annual day function coming up. Now the moment annual day function comes up, I think that's one program, or there could be some other, like there's a tech fest and cultural fest and all. The trend is completely changing in school days. Like back in those days, things that were there in college, like at least in engineering colleges it would be quite common, but these things are coming and present even in schools. I do feel jealous a little bit, but the point is that particular function or an event which sometimes happens for 3 or 4 days, the complete dignity, the prestige, the reputation, or I would say those 3 or 2 days or one day acts like an advertisement for the school. Not just advertisement about like we are there, let me increase the admissions. It's more from the pride point of view, like this is what my children are capable of. It is more like a showcase, an event which is very important for the children to showcase their talents. So this particular time, irrespective of whatever subject we all participate cohesively to come up with the best output. Computer teachers completely get involved in preparing probably the audio video content to be presented. Max and science teachers probably get involved in some games and activities that they can make. some quizzing sort of a thing. I'm not no, like I'm not sure about it, but you can tell me. And definitely PT sir is there in that particular activity to contain the schools. Like it's more like disciplinary actions. Like I'm the student care. Any disciplinary issues come to me, something like that. So this is exactly the moment where I would say there is STEM being visible out there, up to a certain extent. So it's not just about an individual subject in silos. When we call silos is like a tower, like individual tower. No, subjects are not treated like a silos. It's more like an interdisciplinary approach across all the areas. That is the place where STEM becomes very common and very important in a school. Let's understand, probably we can say interdisciplinary approach. So when we talk about National Science Foundation, you can go to this website. This where that's the first time when STEM as a word was coined, and they talk about creating a STEM workforce right now, very recently, and multiple reports are there. They are the people who encouraged the Lego activities initially. I think you might remember Lego activities about the building blocks, where the people keep on, adding the blocks to come up with any design, a house or a truck, or these days it's becoming very common, and even the multiple brands, like huge brands, shoe brands, or real estate brands for that matter, they create Lego constructed brands. I mean, I would say they use the Lego blocks to showcase their marketing talents, something like that. Yeah. So I would request you to go to National Science Foundation. We're not getting into details of it now. When we talk about STEM, it directly, this particular topic came because of this one particular circular. So Central Board of Secondary Education, basically CBSE, initially in the beginning of the academic year, in fact 7th April if I'm not wrong, they came up with this concept of CPD, where they said that the teachers have to undergo 50 hours of training program, but it is themed around STEM. Look at this, 1st April 2025. STEM education as theme for teachers training for the session 25-26. I think some of you would have actually seen the circular where they very clearly mentioned the world is evolving rapidly with technological advancements and scientific innovation shaping the future. That is definitely visible right now. With view to prepare our students for the ever-changing global landscape, we need to strengthen STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, education at the school level. The NEP 2020 also acknowledges the significant aspects of STEM for fostering a progressive and a future-ready education system. So the board has therefore decided to assign STEM education as the training theme for the session 25 and 26. While the CBPs around the chosen theme would focus off the board, the other CBPs continue to remain stable. However, the launch of Eklavya 3030 STEM Education online series shows priority on the part of the board. So what is Eklavya 3030? Let's understand that particular aspect. So this is another news that most of you would have seen. Not sure if you have done that, but this particular session is just for that, right? So let's understand that. So Eklavya 3030 is an initiative by the Center for Creative Learning at IIT Gandhinagar in collaboration with CBSE. What do they do? They actually try to bring the textbook to the students and also take the students along with the textbook to the real world. And they relate that to STEM. Let's go forward and understand this in detail. So here in this case, I would like to open the website. You would have seen that 3030 Ekalavya spicing up the curriculum. I like the word. Okay, हमारे आसपास की रोजमर्रा जिंदगी में गणित विज्ञान का तड़का. Nice, na? Spicing up the curriculum is translated by AI. Focus is to make science and maths difficult concepts easy and hands-on, relatable to life. This will make science and maths conceptually clear and engaging. Right now, it is science and maths. I'm pretty sure like most of the teachers out there are feeling missed out who are teaching social and English, like why it's not given importance. No, it's not like that. It's already part of it. It's just that it's not highlighted. We will highlight in this session. Don't worry. So here in this case, Ekalavya is a series where they try to give examples. Like all these are completely free and open resource. You can actually come to this website called as Ekalavya 3030 or Center for Creative Learning. Let me see if it is there in the presentation. Yes, absolutely. I would like to show you one video to give you a simple understanding of it. CBSE and IIT Gandhinagar. Let's come down, come down. It's been working since Jan. See, you can see that. Season 3 is already happening. Nurturing creativity, out of box thinking, and conceptual understanding. Demystifying science, curriculum that inspires, activities that engages, questions that make you wonder. Now, all of these are present in the form of hands-on activities as well in the same website under the resources column with STEM Kits Manual. We'll touch upon this a little later, but let's first understand one small video. Okay, I'm just playing a random video from this website. For that, I need to share my screen, share the audio, and now we go to the screen, and now we go to the previous page. And once we go to the previous page, and the website is very, very heavy. And here I would like to play this small video just to give you an understanding.
सूरज किस दिशा से उगता है? आप कहोगे ये कैसा फालतू सवाल है? Of course पूर्व। नहीं, इसे जानने के लिए चलते हैं गुजरात के मोढेरा के सूर्य मंदिर में। मुझे यहाँ से पूर्व दिशा ठीक सीधे दिखाई पड़ रही है। तो यदि सूरज हर दिन पूरब की तरफ से उगता, तो मंदिर के उस भाग में रोशनी हर दिन होती। लेकिन मंदिर में उस भाग में रोशनी केवल साल में 2 ही दिन होती है। तो यानी सूरज साल में 2 दिन को छोड़कर कभी भी पूर्व से नहीं उगता। लगता होगा बस 2-4 डिग्री इधर उधर होता होगा। हम जहाँ खड़े हैं वहाँ पर पूरब से 25 डिग्री नॉर्थ और 25 डिग्री दक्षिण तक जाता है। कुल 50 डिग्री का हेरफेर। और आप धरती में जितना ऊपर, जितना उत्तर की तरफ जाते जाओगे, ये हेरफेर उतना ही बढ़ता जाएगा। सूर्य मंदिर यानी सूर्य को समर्पित मंदिर। ये इसी जगह पर क्यों बनाया गया? ये मंदिर ऐसी खास जगह पर बनाया गया जिसके आगे सूरज कभी भी आपके सर के ऊपर से नहीं गुजरेगा। और इसी से धरती का झुकाव और धरती का कद दोनों निकाले गए। ऐसी कितनी ही रोचक चीजें हमारे आसपास है, पर हम उन्हें अक्सर नजरअंदाज कर देते हैं। नीरज सी क्लासरूम की जिंदगी को आसपास की रोचक जिंदगी से जोड़ने के लिए 26 जनवरी को CBSE और IIT गांधीनगर मिलकर ला रहे हैं 30-30 एकलव्य। तो हम आगे बढ़ते हैं तो यहाँ है 108 प्रतिमाएं। 108 का हमारी संस्कृति से हमेशा से ही खास जुड़ाव रहा है। 108 सूर्य नमस्कार, 108 चंद्र नमस्कार। और ताजुब की बात तो ये है कि सूरज, चांद और धरती की दूरियों का रेशो भी यही नंबर है 108। तो 30-30 में इन सब के कद, दूरियों और भार को हैंड्स ऑन एक्टिविटी करके खुद से नापेंगे। परछाई की मदद से न सिर्फ कोनिक सेक्शन को देखेंगे, बल्कि उसकी ज्योमेट्री को समझकर ढेर सारी घड़ियां बनाएंगे। प्रकाश से पत्तियां कैसे खाना बनाती है, ये ना ही अपनी आंखों से देखेंगे, बल्कि उसी प्रकाश की गति भी निकालेंगे और उसी प्रकाश के ऊपर सवार होकर ये दुनिया कैसी दिखेगी ये भी जानेंगे। तो बच्चे, टीचर्स, पेरेंट्स सभी जुड़िए रविवार 4 बजे।
Great. I think you would have. Okay, one second. Great. So you would have seen that with respect to IIT Gandhinagar, this is one of the initiation where. One second. I think the screen. Okay, great. So with respect to the Center for Creative Learning, they have worked out a fantastic curriculum in which they have actually talked about almost all the concepts. Now, the moment you talk about sun rising and setting in a particular setup, especially in a country like India, where we have temples for the same, I think not having the relevance in the class of the sun temple with a chapter of probably reflection and refraction, or probably with the light as a chapter, is a crime that we're committing. So this particular video would have given you a simple idea on what exactly STEM education is, which can be imparted even with the deliberate lectures that we give in the class. It's all about the relevance. It's all about the technology, the way you use it in the class. But what's really interesting, STEM becomes complete in its nature when the students are involved in these activities. And that's why, with respect to Eklavya 3030, they came up with the resources. They call it a STEM Kits Manual, and they have come up with list of all the activities that could be done. And all these are free of cost. I mean, you just have to come to the website. You don't even have to log in, and you can select your subject: biology, chemistry, electronics, maths, physics. Puzzle boxes as well there. Click on any particular topic. So for example, physics lung capacity, click on download manuals, and you'll be able to see a proper PDF of materials required, instructions, and then you perform an activity. So it's all about hands-on activity which can be done in the class. So you've got, I think I didn't count it to be frank with you, but more than 75 to 80 projects were there. I could have done. I just missed it, didn't have time. So the point is, I would request you to please come over here and look into all these activities. And all these are like something that is available in the market and you can easily get it. The problem initially would be for any teacher to take up this would be like finding the right materials and taking it to the class and performing an activity. There are organizations which make really good activities and they even sell these materials. If somebody could invest on that and make sure that regular classes happen and during the classes, this is done. Some people say that we don't have time to complete the portion within the stipulated periods. However, I strongly believe that if an activity is involved, probably 2 periods of your efforts to convey the topic can easily be conveyed with just 1 period. Could be the case for some topics, especially in science and maths. So you would have heard about Arvind Gupta toys. You would have heard about organizations like due to some restrictions, I cannot mention all of them. But the point is, I can definitely talk about CBC's initiative. So all these are something, and the teacher trainings are also happening every Sunday, 4 p.m. Season 1, 2, and season 3 is happening right now. You could actually get into it. All the IITs have this responsibilities of working towards the school education with one or the other activity. You would have heard about the O Labs. Amrita Anandamai Vishwavidyapeetham is the university with which CDAC is working in collaboration with them, and they're developing the content. IIT Bombay worked with computer science curriculum. Multiple IITs have got one or the other initiatives towards the school education. Research about it, you'll get plethora of information. And as a teacher, I very strongly believe, uh, I think this is more than sufficient to make a class much more engaging. So that's with respect to the STEM initiation by CBSE and the support material by IIT Gandhinagar. Let's quickly get back to our presentation, and that's Arvind Gupta Toys, and continue to understand. Okay, great. So let's, I would like to stop share the screen because there is some issue with website ID. I'm going to share that with you over here. Yeah, thank you, Malvika ma'am. That's the website over there. You would have used, yeah, exactly, OLAPs during that time. And yes, here we go. So STEM now would make more sense to you. It is about integrating science, technology, mathematics, and engineering. Now, engineering aspect itself talks about the design. I would say the arts component is somewhere present with engineering itself. Uh, with certain institutions and foundations, the word STEAM started becoming more prevalent. One, that it is very good to pronounce, and another that arts is given explicit importance. So somewhere engineering takes care of it at a broader level, but these foundations and organizations who coined the term STEAM have a separate component of arts as well. So if somebody asks, like, is STEM correct or STEAM correct? Both of them have same ideas. It's like brothers, coming from the same root of STEM. And now, like many other words have come, like with STEM, STEAM, and then STEAMs and whatnot, Well, those are all like the derivatives of the initial part of STEM. End of the day, it is all about amalgamation, coordination, symbiotic relationship, whatnot. And then that's how they thrive, I would say. So STEM learning blends these subjects into hands-on problem-solving approach. It fosters creativity, critical thinking, innovation for real-world applications, etc., etc., etc. Now, so one of the activities that could be like, wow, how does STEM look like? You can see this. It is more like, build a bridge. Now, build a bridge. Where does it come under? Does it come under arts? Does it come under maths? Does it come under science? It's very difficult to point out one person to be dominating, right? That is what STEM activity looks like. So students apply physics, engineering, design, and math to construct structures. And there are times where this construction of bridge came out. It is not like I'm loving bridge and I'm constructing. No, no. All of these activities when the children do, they do it because of a necessity. And this necessity is imbibed among the students through empathy. It is like, what do you mean by it? So say, for example, there's a huge traffic in Bangalore. And some children are like, every time my school buses come even 2 minutes late, I'm able to see a drastic increase in the traffic, which delays our presence in the school. If children say that, some children will go to the next level, like, why not construct a bridge from my home to the school directly? This is an incident which happened in my ground, in my apartment ground. Like, there should be a bridge from our apartment directly connecting to the school. Now there should be a bridge connecting from home to school, is a necessity created for that particular student because of the traffic issues. Now they're very naive, they're very early, so probably they're coming up with an idea that's probably practically not possible as per the government rules and regulations. Otherwise, probably it could be possible. My point over here is imbibing this necessity among the students paves an important component of STEM education, and this is called as contextualization. Contextualization is the ability of a teacher to create that necessity. In order to make sure contextualization happens seriously in STEM education, multiple thinking process came into picture. Problem solving thinking skills like design thinking. Design thinking is all about empathize is the first step. You identify the problem. Now, how do you do that? I can identify the problem only when I'm recognizing a problem, right? For me to recognizing a problem, I need to be empathetic about it. I'm able to see a farmer struggling to plow the fields even right now. We know that the machineries are available, but still he's not able to afford it. So what can I do? Let me come up with a solution. Now I came up with a solution because I felt sorry for the farmer out there. I felt bad. So there's an emotional connect over there. That's where empathy comes into picture. I think most of you know about it, right? Design thinking. It's called as EDIPT, EDIPT. Empathize, yeah, then define the problem, and then ideate a solution, then prototype a solution, first see if it's working at a smaller scale, and then if it is working, then make the mass production. Or if it is not working, then again go back to the previous steps and check what happened. This particular phase is called as testing, adapt the last. So empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test, and then go for multiple production. So this design thinking as a process, along with STEM education, gave a very good pathway to the teachers and students to learn the concept of STEM. So it's like connected with the subjects, at the same time connected with the world and the people around. So this cannot happen without social science. I think you're able to connect that. The bridge construction over there across that particular river, you need to probably understand the upstream and downstream concepts, low tides and high tides concept. You will not believe in Bombay right now. When I was in school, the road used to be on the land. You know, you'll not believe the roads are not on land anymore in Mumbai. They've constructed bridges like at least like in the complete periphery of Mumbai. Like they've constructed in the Arabian Sea. And it's first of all, it's beautiful to look at, quite beautiful, but it has reduced the traffic time by nearly 1 hour, 1.5 hours, whatnot, to go to one place to another. Like it has become silky smooth right now. Well, my point over here is the problem of traffic or the problem of increased urbanization gave this like problem of sorry, the solution of the bridges over there. Similarly, there is some concept called as deurbanization. If I can make a train that can travel at a speed of 200 kilometer per hour in a particular railway track, probably the person who's staying at around what 80 100 kilometers away from the city will be able to come to the city regularly to work and go back. So the city being congested, it's going to gradually go across, and the people will start buying homes or things like that in the periphery. So this is again another concept of identifying the problem, empathizing with the people, and then finding a solution towards it. And when you find the solution, how about having STEM? So I hope you're able to understand. That is the reason Atal Tinkering Labs, right after STEM education, they talk about entrepreneurship. They talk about they made a product. Let's take this product to the world. And how do you do that? It's all about business. It's all about entrepreneurship. That's how people thrive. So that's with respect to STEM education. Let me share the screen and conclude on the last few parts. So, what does STEM look like? Build a bridge, code, traffic signals, coding and logic combined to manage traffic flow, integrating technology and problem solving. Design water filters, chemistry, engineering, and environmental science come together to create clean water solutions. So, when you look into all these activities, ma'am, or teachers out there, you'd see that these activities represent certain names called as robotics, certain names called as IoT, certain names called as probably rapid prototyping, So these are some of the areas or disciplines under which the children can combine STEM. So STEM is a place in a school, probably it could be a lab or one location where the children carrying all the knowledge of science, technology, engineering, mathematics in separate silos, they bring it to the lab and they combine it, they blend it, they make a smoothie out of it, and then come up with an idea with a solution. So that's where STEM labs play an important role in the school. We are also working on our own STEM labs called as Da Vinci Lab. There are organizations out there who are already working on STEM labs, but if the success of this particular lab depends on the pedagogical aspect of the teacher, are they really able to take STEM as a concept inside the class? But the best part is it's a skill, somewhere largely dependent on skill. So that's where skill cannot have a misconception. So even if the concept is not imparted completely, the students' involvement in these activities in one way or the other can still ensure that the purpose is met. So that's why these labs in the school are very much necessary. And that is the reason CBC released another circular called as mandatory presence of a composite skill lab in the school. Makes sense, right? A lot of sense. STEM activities are engaging interdisciplinary projects that challenge students to think critically and innovatively. And come on, come on. Huh. So this is one of the aspects with which you can create a STEM ready environment. First of all, we need to make sure there is an interdisciplinary planning. So the content of the curriculum that's used in STEM lab is more important. Make a space, equip classrooms with tools and materials for hands-on creation. It could be chart papers, or it could be even broomstick sticks. Or matchboxes for that matter. We don't really have to invest a huge on this. That you will come to know from Eklavya 3030 or CCL, Center for Creative Learning by IIT Gandhinagar, how a lab could be set up at a very low cost. Well, there's a lot of involvement of teachers and school principals out there, but a sustainable one. Community projects engage students in real world problems through local partnerships. Low cost materials, very important. We don't really have to invest crores of amount in setting up a lab, which is already happening in many schools in India. Not really required. Utilize everyday items for creative, budget-friendly STEM activities. Simple shifts in approach and resources can transform your classroom into a dynamic STEM hub. So this is one of the aspects from where you can create STEM-ready environment. Now, I would like to quickly show you one important website called as Atal Tinkering Labs. So I would request you to please go to this website called as aim.gov.in, and under aim.gov.in you would find multiple links on the left. Okay, so ATL overview, ATLs in India, ATL establishment and operations, blah blah blah, and there is something called as ATL curriculum. I would request you to click on ATL curriculum, and it'll be there in English and Hindi. Click on English and you'll have a detailed drop down. So what are the ATL introduction, teacher training model, tinkering curriculum? Let us open this. And more importantly, ATL equipment manual. Let's open this as well. So this particular website, the guide to tools in your ATL, will give you a detailed list of tools that could be present in the school. Well, initially all these might seem to be quite at the next level of I would say complexity, but it's actually very easy. See, DIY paper microscope. Did you know that paper microscope is possible? Oh, it's possible. So, well, you can come to this particular website and you can get all the equipments. All are available. You just have to go to the market and buy them. That's it. But before buying, you need to make probably one set of it and then make your own set of activities. See if it is implementable in the school and then go for the bulk purchase. Probably one or two teachers who are good with STEM in a particular school have got good knowledge in multiple subjects, including English and science and social, I would say. I mean, different dimensions and domains can actually take this initiative and get all these things. And once it's got, it's all about hands on activities in the school. So I very strongly believe that STEM education in school should not be as expensive as currently it is projected as. Exactly. Right. Huh. So aim.gov.in. Thank you, Malvika ma'am. Good to have you here in this session today. For a long time, I'm seeing you. So ATL website, again, I come back. Then curriculum, you've got level 1, 2, 3, an online platform. And in this curriculum, they have a detailed explanation on how to perform a certain activity. So all the science teachers, maths teachers, social and English teachers, and the other language teachers, I would humbly request you to please take a little bit of an extra effort. Come to these websites, buy materials, follow the curriculum, make your own activities. They are not as difficult as they actually appear to be. Just because you've got a a white color board called as breadboard and some wires doesn't mean that they are complex, and you don't get a shock. I remember talking to a teacher of English. What he said is, if I connect this wrong, I thought I'll get a shock. Well, the beautiful part is a teacher thinking that a 12 volt or a 9-volt battery can induce a shock in you. That itself clearly indicates that we need this education for all the teachers as soon as possible. So you can come down, and there are, yeah, the topics over here. Basic electronics. See, they begin from paper circuits. As simple as that, and they talk about it. See, so it's step by step instructions with all the pictures, and they've done a very good job. Series and parallel connections are taught by science teachers as well, right? Breadboard is all about series and parallel. You just need to know that. That's it. That's it. So this particular website called as Atal Tinkering Labs, I would call it to be the mother website of all the other foundations out there. There is another foundation called as STEM Learning. I think is it there? Yeah, STEMlearning.in. Even here, they are working with government, with various corporate social responsibility activities, and there's a lot of activities that you can see on the website itself. Mainly, they work with government schools. Yeah, STEM learning, just like Learning Links Foundation. And then you've got stem.org.uk, and that's a huge community where you can unlock and understand what's STEM all about. And there's regular conferences that happen online and offline. There is something called a CPD subscriptions as well. It consists of a little bit of a cost, but I think the school can manage it. I would request you also to subscribe to STEM Learning if you want. I mean, there's again a foundation where they talk about STEM in day-to-day life. Yeah, and they use all these microcontrollers, all these coding activities present over here, which are very simple to understand. Then India STEM Foundation is another major organization where they talk about robotics competitions and conducting activities. There is I remember this one. What is it called as? LMES. There's the YouTube channel for 11. Even they do a very good job in STEM. So it's a good way of getting into understanding it. That's it. I think these are some of the organization that I was looking into, and then we saw the press release of CBSE's mandatory training framework and annual training theme STEM education to enhance educator competence aligned with NEP 2020. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. So coming to the understanding of creating a STEM ready environment, and now going on to the final aspect of STEM mindset. So the heart of STEM is growth, grit, and experience. I do not know why experience is not typed. Okay. The STEM mindset mirrors a detective's approach. Growth mindset embrace challenges as opportunities for learning and improvement. Questioning, always ask why and how to dig deeper. Experimentation, test ideas, learn from failures and iterate solutions. Curiosity and grit. So basically, this is grit and curiosity. Persevere through obstacles with an insatiable desire to discover. Well, there are chances that many teachers would come across this point stating that my child is not so good with academics, but they're really good with skills. They're able to find a solution to a problem. They're not able to communicate that great, but they are making really good activities out there, solving problems. My son changed the tube light for the first time, by himself. He's just in seventh grade or something like that. Probably that's the grit and curiosity that we're talking about. Could be, but something that you can solve in real world applications. So fostering this mindset empowers students to become lifelong learners and innovative problem solvers. I think most of the teachers out there will definitely have probably a book rack with all the subject books. With this session, I would just like to say that have another rack and try to buy few more materials. Like the Montessori toys could be there at home, which can again imbibe STEM mindset in early classes, or students at early age, and like the stacking toys or the gear mechanism. All these constitute to STEM mindset in the children. Yeah. So in the previous session, it was like more like STEM mindset, and in like last, it's like more like heart of STEM. Let me stop sharing the screen, and that brings me to the end of the session, teachers. I think you would have got to understand what STEM is all about. It's not something related to only robotics or drone technology. It is also about the ability of a teacher to connect the subjects across in a class. It's more of an interdisciplinary approach. When somebody defines STEM education as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that definition is absolutely wrong. It is more like, I would say, the combination of multiple domains. You need not Just identify science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Probably you can add languages as well. Without even saying it goes, that language is part of it. Or cultural aspect is part of it. Empathy is part of it. Emotions are part of it. So it's just a representation. The word STEM is more like a representation, or I would say a symbol of interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and cross-disciplinary approach of a particular class with hands-on activities to solve real-life problems. And that's what is called as competency as well, right? Thank you so much, teachers. Great interacting with one and all. I hope you got to understand what exactly STEM is. We would again like to meet everyone with one important approach with STEM called as project-based learning in the next Super Sunday workshop. PBL has got a lot of misconceptions. Let us understand what PBL is all about in the next Super Sunday workshop. You'll be able to see the registration link of PBL project-based learning from Tuesday onwards on the superteacher.in website. You just need to go there, click on events, and the moment you do that, you'll be able to see the activities coming for the next events, upcoming events. Uh, Jadui Pitara could definitely be, a very good application of STEM. Yeah, definitely. That's a good question. Great. Thank you so much, teachers. I think you would have got the information. Until the project-based learning for the next Super Sunday, thank you so much for joining. Jai Hind. If there is any queries, if there are any queries, you can put it on the chat. Now, while all of us try to, find ready-made information of STEM, maybe that's going to be helpful only at the initial stages, because the kind of requirement that a teacher would have for her or his set of students, it's going to be completely different and evolving. So it's important for a teacher to have that mindset of, okay, let me make this activity. Okay, I got to understand what STEM is. I got to see some websites from where this could be done. Now let me try designing my own activities. And with AI coming into picture, I think AI can be a good assistant for you to make your own activities. Yeah. Dolly ma'am, you can refer this website called as Center for Creative Learning, CCL, IIT Gandhinagar. Right. Change in portions in the sense. So due to the inclusion of skill modules in the CBSE curriculum, there is a rationalization of the syllabus. Are you asking about that, ma'am? If yes, then that's the answer. So Center for Creative Learning with Eklavya, I am sharing the link on the chat right now for all the teachers who are asking for the same. Today's questions on reflection form will be very interesting. No, Manoj sir, I'm not aware about it. The link is there on the chat. Okay. That's what. So for respective grades and respective, I would say, topics. Of course, you'll find some information on the internet, but I think what's more sustainable is creating those activities. I remember some very passionate teachers who have collected all these toys and all these activities, and in their home they have it. So whenever like we go and say that, sir, we have a very good product of hands-on science. Why don't you implement this in your school? When I used to work with my previous organization, they're like, no, I've already done that work. That shows a lot of passions. Yeah. A simple activity of balloon and just doing the air in the balloon can teach so much about atmospheric pressure, and it's all about how you put it across. For that, as a teacher, we need to understand STEM, and we need to understand the concept in that tone of voice, for which we need to do a little bit of research. And with AI in picture, I think that research is quite easy. Yes, you're right, you're right. The link is there in the website, Mangala ma'am. I would request you to Manoj Singh sir, that's like I don't have any specific link as such for class 11. That's a skill subject, right? So it's like you have the study material on the CBSE portal, if I'm not wrong. Oh, you have ATL club in the school, Bharti ma'am. Yes, 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 yes. How well ATL is utilized is another big challenge. Considering the portions that we have to complete, doing it in the class is actually not really an easy task. Anyways, let's close the session for today, teachers. Thank you so much for joining. I would like to meet you in the next Super Sunday workshop. It's a weekend and it's a Sunday. It takes a lot of involvement and enthusiasm for somebody to wake up and switch on the laptops to learn. That's the most boring thing somebody can do. And if you're consistent about it, boring things yield very good results. We call it as delayed gratification, right? I hope we're able to create some difference in the way you talk to your fellow teachers and at your confidence levels with the knowledge that you're gaining. I hope you're able to do that. I would request all the teachers how to take one platform in regularity to upgrade and upskill yourself. It could be TED or it could be Super Sunday Workshop or any other organization for that matter. Anyways, let's meet in the next Super Sunday Workshop with project based learning. Until then, bye everyone.